Hey, whatnot sellers and prospectives. I come today with an update about the Premier Shop requirements and the seller provided support, which are two different things. They do overlap, but they are two different things. One applies to all sellers, okay, and then one just for the Premier Shop. So email went out yesterday, so we're going to talk. I looked at all the articles, which I will link in the description, and we're going to talk about it. So if I'm new to you, my name is Tamika Crow of Custom Wood Burning. I've been selling heat gun art on Whatnot for about 3 years and came here to share inside stuff, tips and tricks, tutorials, clarify some things, and more recently updates, right? So I got some notes here, and we're going to talk Premier Shop and seller provided support, which is an everybody thing. It's an all sellers thing. So here we go. Premier Shop. I guess if anybody's not familiar with what that is, it is basically a badge that top sellers get. Without diving too deep into it, it's basically a badge that top sellers get on the platform. You get a cool little icon attached to your profile that says you sell a lot of things and people should shop with you, long story short. So with the Premier Shop requirements, which there are a few, which I want to keep these short, but I may skim through them real quick toward the end here. But the one main change with it is that it used to be that you had to have quality listings, which is to say that you have to have no random pull listings, for the top sellers. It's got to be like photos, individual listings with photos and descriptions that are specific to the products. You can't sell 100 different things under the same listing, basically. So that was a requirement, that you had to have individual listings with the photos and descriptions for all your products, and now that requirement is no more, okay? So they removed quality listings from the Premier Shop list of requirements, starting with the June eval, and they say, Whatnot says, they are building better tools to create detailed listings more easily going forward. So stay tuned for that. That's the main change for Premier Shop though. Seller provided support. This is kind of a big one that I think most people are a little bit sleeping on because we're so focused on the Premier Shop. But seller provided support, this is an everybody thing. And I quote, seller provided support will roll out to all U.S. sellers on September 1st. All U.S. sellers. This is not just Premier Shop sellers. This is all of the tens of millions of Whatnot sellers in the U.S. will soon have seller provided support, giving you direct ownership of buyer issues. And so basically when buyers get packages and there's something amiss with them, if they're late, if they're damaged, if they're missing pieces, if whatever the case, when they go to basically put a ticket in for it and say, hey, flag it, something's wrong with this order, those historically have been going directly to Whatnot, and Whatnot has been our middleman customer service. No more. They said you sellers can handle your own customer service, which we knew was going to move towards this, and we're all gonna get through it together, okay? But this is on the seller, so we gotta all put our customer service hat on, and I think personally, just my opinion, I think it'll be a good thing overall because fun fact, I haven't personally had any complaints with my packages. I'm not high volume though, but I have heard that some times when buyers like report certain things, the sellers aren't even aware of it because it just goes straight to Whatnot might decide to refund them or like settle it, just completely outside of the seller's awareness. And so, which I think is a disservice if that is the case. So either way, whether that's accurate or not, because I cannot confirm personally, I think it's good for sellers to be aware of all and any issues that buyers might have so they can do better, right? Constructive. If we don't know, we can't fix it. So I digress. This applies to all sellers come September 1st. That's the first thing. For the Premier Shop sellers to have that status, this seller provided support must maintain a good or excellent rating, which there are 5 ratings. You really want to live in that zone anyway. A, B student type, you don't want to be in the C, D, F zone. For customer service, I'm just saying, no matter who you are. But also, Premier Shop sellers are required to have a 95% response rate on said issues. So if they do have messages that say, hey, there's something wrong with this order, Whatnot does expect those to be responded to in a timely manner. It doesn't have to be 100% within the 2 days, but it does have to be 95% to maintain the Premier Shop status. Notable that if sellers are already enrolled, there was like beta, the seller support or seller provided support has been tested by a number of sellers. Those who already have it, their support rating is going to factor into their Premier Shop status starting on September 1st. For those sellers who do not already have that feature, they're giving an extra month. And so it will roll out to everybody September 1st, but it will factor in October 1st if it's like brand spanking new to you regarding Premier Shop status. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so for non-US sellers, it's supposed to roll out later this year, 2026. And then I put 2 notes here to look for. There's, for those who have this seller provided support, in our DM inbox, there's like an extra tab. There's an extra tab. So come September 1st, everybody who doesn't already have it can look for a tab that says customer support requests or customer support, something like that. That is where your buyers' messages are going to filter to automatically. So keep an eye out for that. And then keep an eye out also for the extra rating on the profile page. Not everybody's going to have it. But there is a customer support like rating added to our profiles once we've handled 10 or more customer service requests. And so for those who have no customer complaints, you're not going to see this rating on your profile. For those who have less than 10, you have 9 customer complaints and you handled them in any which way, still not going to show up on your profile, only if it's 10 or more, so they have like something to rate, I guess, essentially. So there's that. And what are we at? So that's the update. If you want to stick around, I'll just go over really quickly the list of Premier Shop benefits and eligibility criteria. I'll buzz through them. They're just bullets. For Premier Shop benefits, you get reduced commission from 8% down to 7.2%. You get the badge on your profile and on your thumbnails that you are Premier status. You get increased discoverability on the platform, and you get prioritized support from Whatnot directly. Those are the benefits of having that Premier Shop status. For eligibility criteria, there are 3 main things and then 2 asterisks. You have to be selling on Whatnot for at least 90 days. You have to have a history of following community guidelines. And you have to, in the last 90 days, you've had to have hosted at least 10 shows. You had to have sold, this is kind of funny, I don't know if everybody knows this. You have to at least sold 250 items, orders, but this can include giveaways. Did we know that? That 250 can include giveaways. I think Premier Shop folks are selling and putting through more orders than that, but either way, it includes giveaways, fun fact. And then the other part is the biggest one, you have to, again, in the 90 days, had to have generated at least $50,000 in sales. Trust you me, when this Premier Shop, I was around when this first became a thing and everyone like reading through it all excited and then got to this and we're like, what? Drop a heart in the comment if you remember that, because that was funny right there. Anyway, the two asterisks are, let's see, for eligibility, 95% on and up on-time ship rate, which is the 2-day. This is like a Whatnot thing. They hold us to that standard. If you don't maintain that standard, they're not going to give you Premier Shop status. And then the other thing is 99, this is really high, 99% order fulfillment rate without cancellations by the seller or by Whatnot. And so they want, if you're getting all these sales, they want you to complete those orders, 99% of them. You can't just be canceling like this is too much. You got to fulfill them. And so there's that. Okay, I don't want to keep going. There is a ton of more information in the articles. I want to say there's like there's an article just about the seller, what did I call it? The seller provided support, tons of information. This is again rolling out to every seller on Whatnot September 1st. Highly recommend reading that. There's a bunch of FAQ in there, frequently asked questions. I will link that. I will link the article for Premier Shop status in general. And then I think I can link the update separately, even though I guess it just depends on what you want to read. So I'll link those. And if I missed anything key or if there's any questions, please don't be shy, just drop them. And I think I'm going to try this weekend to update us on the Raid Train app, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about that, and I think everyone should know. So for now, I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Happy live selling. Bye-bye.